All right, check in. Streaming. Everything's good. My CPU looks great. Anyways, excellent connection. All right, so I'm live on Facebook, or excuse me, on YouTube. Trying to figure out some few settings. I'll crop this out. The end video, live chats. Enable live chat. Sure. Well, okay, that's not what I'm looking at. Cool. Let's see if this works. Trying to share to my live stream as well. Cool. I think that'll work. I'm not sure. This is. Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to connect to my Patreon as well. So this is. Let's see. What did I put in here? My live stream. How I produce bass music. Episode 1. All right. What up, everybody? My name is Kovsko. This is my first live stream when it comes to me producing and stuff. But yeah. This basically is just a rundown of, oh, here it is, stream URL, haha, copy, there we go. I'm wanting to give a rundown of, like, you know, what I do when I produce, what to look for. It's all right, let's give it a go. Schedule, we don't want to schedule a post now. Want to be absolutely live. I'm trying to give my fans more content, and I'm also trying to steer away from fucking Facebook and, you know, all the other social medias that really don't support artists and creators. And, you know, I want to give content and give some kind of something back to the people. So this is me producing a song called Smooth Like Clay in Ableton. And probably should have got this all set up before, but it's all gravy. Smooth like clay. So yeah, this is just the producing process for me. It's not really mixing or mastering, although I will go into some mixing and mastering techniques as I produce. I like to always keep aware of, like, the mixing and mastering process when I'm producing. If you're not familiar with what mixing and mastering is, and, you know, the processes, I guess I'll explain it real quick. Producing to me is, you know, songwriting. Basically, it's the nuts and bolts of creating a song. You know, pulling samples, making beats, all the fun stuff that we like to do. That I like to do personally. I'd rather produce a song than mix and master. But hey, if you want people to like your music, and if you want it to sound good on all systems, then mixing and mastering are essential. But for now, we're going to publish this. See how this works. Patreon. It doesn't look like it's working too great. Don't see your broadcast. Don't see your broadcast. YouTube stream window. I thought I already did that. Let's see. So this is a learning curve. I'm not too sure. Wait, please check the video resolution. Current resolution is 8, which is not optimal. Cool. My stream health is good. Anyways, we're gonna go for it anyways. It's been 3 minutes, and yeah. So, this is basically what I've got so far. I didn't want to start a track from scratch. I'm getting better at organizing. Not the best, but yeah. So usually this is how I have my setup, although it's super sloppy and all over the place right now. And I've got yeah, this is actually really disorganized. So usually I like to keep my drums at the top. We'll go ahead and listen through and see what you guys think. Well. So yeah, this is the BPM. If you look over here, it's at 93 BPMs, 4/4 4/4 timing, and yeah, that's what I got so far.
Let me see you get low real nasty. Let me see you get low real nasty.
Alright, so yeah, ladies and gents, that's basically what I've got going on here so far. My microphone's a little hot. Let me turn it down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so that's basically what I've got so far. Where I would go normally in this case is I'm obsessed with doing drums. A lot of people like to loop drums, pick up drum loops, and I do it every now and again off of Splice. I personally like to be inspired by drum loops and then recreate. I'm not a drummer at heart. Like I can play the drums, but not that great, yeah, I like to set up my drums in a drum kit. Most people like to do audio samples. As far as I know, and from what I can tell, is the appropriate way to really do it, especially when you're coming into mixing, is you want to bounce all of it to audio, which we'll get into at another episode, not into it now, and then mix audio samples. That usually helps with your CPU up here. See, mine's at 7%. That's why I feel comfortable using MIDI. When you use MIDI, basically what you're doing is, so this is the drum rack. This is the drum group. I've grouped all of my instruments, the kick, the snare, and the clap. I do a background clap reverb to give it a little bit of room. And then I've got my hi-hats right here. So basically what I got going on here is just a simple groove right at the beginning. I'm not sure if that's how I want the intro of my song to sound like, but yeah. So what I've got going on here is, let's turn this off real quick. Solo it out. Yeah. So, I usually go in like little, let's see, how do I explain this? I usually start in little sections, right? As the song progresses, I'll add more and more drums, but, these are my kicks that I've got. They're a little, it's usually, this is not that one, excuse me. So yeah, I usually do a little bit of layering. What I've got here is, this is just that top end. This is why I like to use MIDI as well. Cause then I can layer my, tracks that I find out that I've sampled or my samples. And I can layer them that way. So I've got this low end one, which has got some of that high end. It's actually the same exact. So this is kick for first too. Yeah. So basically, it looks like I've just kind of like spread it out a little bit. I think what I wanted to do was take that kick and add another kick. I liked the high end. That's where I was at with this. But I wanted a little bit more bassy kick, So that's not very bassy as it is. But I liked that high end. So what I did here was I put a high pass filter at about 694 because it just sounded, just kind of like the clappiness of it. And yeah, so what I will do next is let's find a bass, bass kick or something that will complement that. My samples and kicks, let's see. Most of them are pulled from Splice. Go on Splice if you don't have Splice. It's freaking amazing. It's only $7.99 a month, and you get 100 credits a month. Most producer friends of mine, they don't even use up all that, and I don't think I've ever used it up. But if you stop paying, they will take away your credits, so make sure you're continuing paying, and if you are not able to afford it, make sure you use your sample credits before they take it away. So I'm a huge fan of Just Blaze, his drums, and I think this is Just Blaze's kit for, it says Meow the Drums, so it's Killer Mike's side piece. What is it? Jeez Louise, I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, that's besides the point. Doesn't matter. But he's got a lot of these like cool little bassy, see, even that one right away. I'm like, damn, just something low end, just to give it a little bit of oomph. That's a little too much. Some of these are super over compressed, and you can tell. I want like something like just like, see, there's a little click in that. You can hear that little click there. Not a huge fan of the click. Most of these are already layered too, so that's kind of why I'm like I like layering myself to create my own. Ooh, yeah, see, there's a little click on that too. See, that has I like that. I like that one. I like the first one. Let's see. So let's do that one. We'll put this over here. It doesn't necessarily matter. You can organize it better than I do. I like that one too. It's got a little high end to it. So, yeah. So look. So these already come in at negative 12 decibels. I usually like to use this to mix as I go. So if my kick's not too heavy, or see, actually it's yeah. So and even right here on a lot of my tracks, when I throw them straight in, I'll go down negative 6 decibels, and I won't automate the track. The reason why I like doing that is because I like to have a lot of headroom when it comes to mixing. So then when I do get to a point of like, okay, I could start bringing up levels or putting stuff backwards and stuff, I have a little bit more wiggle room there. Just something to think about when you're going in. So if you were to look at, if you were to look at, if you go to this, I was calling it clip view. Session mode is what Jordan told me. Panda Say What, shout out. I was calling it clip mode, which is not the right term, but there's also something called clip mode over here, and this will stop. This is, if you go into here, the clip mode is when you actually, so when you clip, this is the clip, so this is a clip view. Anyways, little sidebar. But so if I play the whole track, right now I'm shooting at negative 2, so things are a little hot, even when I have it all said and done in terms of like setting things down. So that's something to think about. When you send it off to get it mastered, you want your mix to be at about negative 5, negative 6 decibels. I usually try to give them negative 6 so that they can like compress the shit out of it, and we could win the loudness war. Anyways, so we got that kick going. Let's see. I'll be super quick about it. Cool. Also, sometimes what I like to do is I like to just group, or not group, but join, so I have like a bigger thing to work with. So let's solo. And I do, see, so I'm taking that low end. See, I like, let's see what happens. Oh, okay, so what I did was, so this is a drum rack. Basically, it's a drum rack. You can, I use a M Audio trigger finger. I don't have it available right now, but when I like to like just write songs and feel the groove, I usually write my drums that way. But so let's see what I have here. So I have this kick. So that's what I did. So this first one's just really good low kick. I liked that. I liked that crunchiness at the top. So that's exactly what I did. Is what I boosted the volume right here. And I put a frequency on it. I actually messed with the attack so it wasn't so harsh. It's got a little poppiness, so I hugged that up right there a little bit. Perfect. And I did a little layering, so it emphasizes that top end. But now I want to emphasize the low end a little bit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our MIDI view, and I'm just going to Control C, Control V, and then bring it up. So that's with it, without it, So it gives it a little bit more on that one. And another thing that you want to think about is the key in which. So let's try this. Let's hear this real quick. Very subtle differences, but very subtle. So I like which one do I like? I like this one for better actually. So I don't like doing one shot. I like doing classic. What one shot does is it basically. Actually, I never fucking use one shot. What I have noticed that it does give you these like one shot things. So if you want to do like a quick load in, you could change the fade in, fade out, and you can transpose it all right down here. I like doing the classic, so that way I can mess with the attack, decay, sustain, and release, which is the envelope of the sample. I'm gonna pump it up a little bit. I'm gonna go up to -8. Yeah. So if I took out that. A little harsh. That gives it a little bit more. There we go. -4. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I dig that. So that way it just kind of gives it a little bit more bassier feel. Awesome. So yeah, let's see what I have here. Just a simple clap on this one. I EQ'd the shit out of it in this weird way. Let's see the differences. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, I got that like little. I really liked that like chingy top part right here in 10,000K. Couple little sounds coming through here. I think what I did here was I didn't like certain sounds, so I about 430 there's like this weird. Usually when it comes to like claps and snares, they come in a little bit muddy. So what I like to do is I like to duck out at about 350 to 450, which is basically the muddiness, or like my voice right now is probably going to come in very muddy to you guys, which I could probably change that on my mixer. But yeah, it's just like it's above the sub bass sound that like a lot of talking is done. It's about 450 hertz. So I usually duck out around then, which makes it like when you layer tracks over and over again, it doesn't compound those frequencies. So it doesn't make the track feel very muddy. It makes it feel very bright. And what I mean by bright is over 10K right here. This is what makes it really bright. So if you could tell, if I took it off and if I took off the EQ, you would hear just like a very, not so crisp. Just it's a good sample. I like it, but yeah, I like that a little bit more. It pops out, makes it a little bit more punchy. Yeah. So that's what I've got going on with my snare clap. We get into more snares over here. But over here, and on my snare clap track, I don't normally like to have like reverb, very much reverb on it at all, if any. That's because I want my snare and my clap to be in the front of my mix, just like my kick. I wouldn't put unless I was doing like a room kick to like give it that kind of like breakdown vibe of like maybe a bigger drum kit vibe, which I think I'd go into a little bit later. But I usually, if I want to track with like clap on it or reverb, like a room reverb, it makes it more airy that way. So I have one in the background that kind of like kind of brings it all together, and then the one in the front which says like, hey, what's up, I'm here. So yeah, this is the one in the back. Not much, just see in that one in itself, what I would do, I feel like it's a little it's not bright on the hit like I want. So let's see, we'll go to EQ8. And when it comes to like using plugins or audio effects, I'm totally fine with using like an EQ8 on like any of these random instruments, just to EQ things out here and there. I like to use this filter just for high pass filters and stuff, but being that I want to like actually look at this one by itself. So you see this low end right here. I'm going to duck a little bit out, maybe completely. No, I think I'll shelf it out. So this is a shelf. And then take that 350 muddiness that I was talking about. And then I'll pop it up a little bit on that. Let's go a little bit before. Cool. So makes it a little bit more snappy. Cool. I like that. Notice how there's no sub. I don't have a sub on this part. It's the intro, but I do have a guitar sample that I pulled from Splice. It's super simple. I personally like it, but also, I need some more variation. It says my key is in. What is my key in? Doesn't say. What did I have? Let's look at my root notes. So I haven't opened this in a while. I've got E. This is a bass line, basically. Yeah. So that's in D sharp. I think it's D sharp minor that I'm writing in. D sharp minor, which doesn't have the half step right here, so it might be a melodic minor that I'm looking into right now. I believe that's correct. My theory is a little bit dry. It's been a while. So we got D sharp minor. This F is totally kosher, I believe. So since it's minor, this is a third. So if I did I think that usually a 2, when I use a 2 note on melodies or bass rhythms, it kind of makes this eerie, weird vibe, like this eerie, which is totally my style. I love fucking with, like half steps and stuff when it comes to written melodies, just because, when I used to watch Noisia, they would always do that shit. They would basically step out of key and make, like do half steps and basically just make sound designs that like didn't necessarily fit the key, but they were just so fucking weird and creepy that they liked it. And I personally enjoy that too. So every now and again I'll do like step out of my comfort zone and do like a little like something like just even that is totally different. I mean, it's still kosher for this. Makes a little bit more and you know what? I actually might be writing in a different key. Another good thing to do is know which key you're writing in, and also save it maybe in the song name, so that you, so a little bit later. And you can look at your notes too. So what do I got here? So this is something I wrote out. So I've got 1, 2, 3. C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and so it's 3 sharps, which if we look at FC, if we look at the scale, look at some scales. So again, I'll say my theory is not too amazing. Excuse me, this is all my data stuff. That's Ahi's page. If you don't watch live streaming at all, Ahi's the jam. 3 sharps. What is 3 sharps? 3 sharps, number of sharps, FCG is A major. So A major would be what? D minor. Is that what I'm writing in? 3 sharps, minor key. Key signatures. Haha, Wikiversity. Anyways. So look, this is what we're looking at here. I believe, what did I count? I had what? C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. I don't think I have an F sharp in there, so I might be just skipping out on the F sharp when I'm writing. So here's the thing about music too, is music is like, a lot of people want to go like, oh, you have to have this and you have to have that. Yeah, and if you're like a jazz, even jazz, so jazz was a bad example. Even like, if you're writing music, like there's no right and wrong way. You're going to get people along the way that are going to tell you, oh, you're doing it like wrong, and they might be right. You might be doing it wrong in the sense of basic songwriting or basic producing or basic mixing, but the things that you do wrong are the things that make you. So if you decide like, hey, I like to make my kicks and snares a little bit too loud, like embrace that shit, like obviously don't fucking blow people's eardrums, but I think it's important to like know like, hey, like we're not all perfect and we're not all going to be like, we're not going to be what everybody else wants us to be, and there's going to be a lot of people that are telling us, hey, you're doing this wrong, and it's also good to take it as feedback, but it's also good to recognize that like, doing it wrong is what makes us us. So like, and it makes you. So embrace the wrong, be aware of what you're doing wrong. If you're stepping out of key and it sounds funky, know that you're doing it, stepping out of key and it sounds funky. I've had several times in my life here. Let's see. What am I at? Where was I at? Sorry. I've had several times in my life where people told me, hey, you're doing this wrong. And I was aware of it, and I liked doing it wrong because it just made it sound different or made it sound like me more. And maybe that's holding me back. Maybe it's not. But I don't think it has anything to do with wrong or right. It has just everything to do with like how you feel and how it makes you feel. So it's F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So if you know anything about sharps and key signatures, then you'll know like what key it is. So C sharp, G sharp, and what did I say? A sharp, I believe. C sharp, which it could be just in the flats too. A, B, C sharp is D flat. So, anyways, I think it is either F sharp minor. I think that's what I was at. I was thinking it was D sharp minor before, but no, I'm using. So that's a A. So it's A sharp, and then this is a B, C, D, E, F, E sharp. No, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, F sharps. So how you memorize sharps, and this is like total theory, and it's very difficult to understand. But anyways, if you want to know like what key you're in and stuff, fat cats go dancing after. What is it? Oh my god! No, this turned into something else. Fat cats go dancing at Ernie's bar. Sure. So here we go. BEADGCF. That is the flat route, and then fat cats go dancing after eating beans or something like that. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I've always called it fat cats go dancing after eating beans or something. I don't know. There's so many different ways you call it, but that's how you know what key you're in. So if you go to the key signature and you go, okay, that's an F sharp. It's in G major or E minor, right? You got one sharp in it. It's the F sharp. F, C, D major, B minor. Fat cats go, A major, F sharp minor. I believe that's where I'm at right now. Fat cats go. I think I had a D in there too. Yeah, D sharp. So I could use F sharp in here, and I probably should be. So here's E, and again, it is an E minor, I believe. So that is absolutely correct. Let's go back. So I'm glad we could figure that out. Let's see. Fat cats go dancing. Fat cats go dancing. It's E major, C sharp minor. Totally. So again, C sharp, D sharp I thought was my root, but C sharp is. So I'm in C sharp minor. Let's do this now. It doesn't matter, I guess. But anyways, I wonder if there's a way that I could do notes on here. Options. Doesn't matter. Moving on. A cool little melody. We'll duplicate these. All right. So then when I cut down to this part, what I have here, I'll explain it here now, is Massive. I like Massive a lot. I like Serum a lot. I like Massive more. At this point, it just helps me get the reason why I like Massive, not because Massive's better. I don't think Massive's better. I think Serum is definitely better in terms of sound design quality. The sine wave in Serum is superior to the sine wave in Massive. I would never really use Massive, and I have, but I wouldn't really consider using Massive as using a sub bass in Massive and just using that. I have in several cases and will continue to so because I'm not perfect. But moving on. I like Massive because it helps me get my bass design ideas down, get it out of my head and down onto the software. Now, when it comes to Serum, I get to work a little bit better on that. But yeah, so I use Massive. So as you can see, these are not quantized perfectly, which I like because it humanizes a little bit more. And I have an LFO in there that kind of brings it. It brings it back to the one. So I've kind of like moved the LFO so it lands on the beat. I won't go into sound design here, but this is my Massive track. called Chasing a Dream Love. It's an old sample that I used. So yeah. What I normally do with my mid bass is that's what I call these are mid basses. Is yeah, I group them all. I even do my sub bass. So this is my sub bass for the drop. And see, there's a little popping stuff in there, so I can work on that a little bit more. But yeah. So I group my mid basses. I put a compressor on it, really just to sidechain the kick. Sometimes I bring the compressor up a couple decibels to make it pop a little bit more, pull down my threshold so that it could register the kick. Depending on how I want that kick to hit, I like that. I like the release on it and the attack. So if I see, I could. I like them to be a little bit sharper, just for that kick to pop in. Another thing I use too is volume shaper. I don't have it on this computer. If any of you guys use volume shaper is the shit. It's basically just a tool to put on a group track or a track so that you can duck out the volume of it instead of using a compressor or instead of using an LFO tool. And you could also set it up to MIDI so that you can arm it. So you hit a MIDI key and then it ducks out of the volume rather than ducks out of through compression through this compressor, which is also cool too. Just a little side note: if you use volume shaper, you can still freeze the tracks and it'll still work fine. When you compress stuff, you can't really freeze tracks because the compressor uses the input from the kick, the audio from the kick, and then goes through that way. So if I were to compress or freeze, if you're not aware of freezing, you basically right click, you freeze the tracks, and what it does is it basically locks everything in place. You can't really edit it, and you could only edit the volume of the track, but you can't edit the actual instrument and stuff, which makes it nice for CPU. So if you have over 100 tracks, or you have like just a lot of shit going on, you could freeze tracks and then be like, okay, I'm not going to mess with that track for a while. I'm going to come to it later, and then work on it that way. Excuse me. I guess I don't really want to produce anymore. I'd rather just talk to you guys about my process. I'd love to write some music, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, moving forward. So I usually do a volume shaper on the group track, so that way I can actually control the duck of the volume so that you could hear that kick, and that's really what the compressor that is for. So I'll solo. It brings that kick through. So right here, kick. So if I take this off, it kind of sticks it around in the back a little bit more. Compression and sidechaining are gonna be your friend. One thing that I would like to mention is when it comes to most mid basses, sub basses, mid basses, sub basses, or even your pads. Sometimes you'll get higher end crispy pads, synth pads or something like maybe Saw Anthem leads or something, and you want to cut out to that kick. It gives it a good flow, and it's a good way to keep your kick and snare up in the front of the mix, which is basically what's going to control your groove of the track. Yeah, for me. Let's see. So I got that operator. And what I did here on Serum is I have two. So this is Serum. I've ducked it out on the low end. I actually don't think I have a legit copy of Serum right now, so I won't even go into it with you. It still works for some reason. I need to purchase a new one. But yeah, moving on. So yeah, this is basically what I did. I added the sub, or I didn't add the sub. Hi, I did. This is called a low pass filter. I took out all the low frequencies are passing through, cutting out the high frequencies. This is literally. So this is what I wanted to do. So I liked that griminess of that. Let's bring that up a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm splitting the frequencies so that it creates like a multi-band dynamic effect where it emphasizes the top frequencies and it just separates it. So it separates it more so that like it ducks out at about 350. So if you look over this on top of this, it's going to duck out a little bit more around this 350 marker right here. So if you look, I'll switch over to this one real quick. Boom. So it's ducking out a little bit right there, which is great. It's also soloing the bass from, or separating the bass from the high end stuff, so that if I want to bring up that high end, it takes away the muddiness, basically what I'm saying of the two sounds, and it creates this very clear sound. A lot of people do it in 3 steps, where they do like a low end, a mid, and then they do like a high. They basically do a high end. I don't like doing that because I like these noises that come up here, which make it a little bit more harsher. These noises above 1,000 to 10,000, anything in there is going to make it like crack a little bit more and sound really harsh. For me, it's just always sounded really well. That could be my ears, but some people might hate it. But yeah, so there's 2 of the same synths. Just cut out a little bit there. This is that same track, that same massive patch. And so what I did here, let's see, I'm going to move this to my other screens. Yeah, so what I did here is you could see how I changed it from that to... Yeah, so it's not very loud. I don't have, what I did is, the difference between that and that is, let's see. If we look at here, I have mod right here, there's envelope. I think I just went down a little bit, let's see. Yeah, it's just actually the same sound, just an octave down. Nothing's changing really between the two. Yeah, nothing at all, actually. Wow. Here's an EQ that I was going to use for that because I intentionally was going to do like kind of like a separated again like I did with the other one. I might still do that later, but yeah. So I just went down an octave to D sharp, to the D sharp 1. This one is on, you know, it's the F sharp. So it's a couple octaves higher. Yeah. OTT. If you're not familiar with what this is, it's a multi-band dynamic. You go into audio effects, multi-band dynamics, and then click OTT. OTT is a very classic EDM multi-band dynamic compressor that basically, like I said, is it pulls the frequencies out and emphasizes the low, mids, and highs. Kind of separates them a little bit more. Adds, as you can see here, it adds basically a threshold and ratio display. Right here, so you can mess with that. Here's the thing, is I watched Ahi's freaking tutorial on OTT multiband dynamics, and he's right. Anytime I've ever fucking taken the multiband dynamic OTT, thrown it in, and I've messed with the outputs or messed with the inputs, it's always made it worse. So the things that you should really focus on are these 3 buttons or knobs right here. The output, to create that loudness that you want, and then the timing. What that basically does is it makes the sound either squishy, sharp, like punchier, or it like flattens it out, like spreads it out a little bit more, kind of like compressing it and just making it more squishier sounding. It's perfect for like hi-hats and drums too, and then obviously the amount is the amount. So my suggestion, just like he suggested, is to like not really mess with any of that stuff because you're just going to make it sound weird. Unless you absolutely want to cut out the low end and you just want to mess with the high, then I would say go ahead, that's fine, do that. But the OTT is basically designed I would say it's basically designed for like EDM producers to just really make things more fat, make top end pop out a little bit more. If you hear it without, like, notice how, I'll just crank this to, like, you can't hear any of that high end. How does that? Command Z, yeah. But with the OTT, it brings out it all. The sounds that I want, that like metallic little scrapey sound. Yeah. One thing too is if you have reverb open on this, it's gonna do a lot of weird little. It's gonna make a lot of weird little effects too. Sometimes it clicks and pops using OTT and massive or a sub bass with some crunchiness on it. You just would need to like cut out those pops when you convert it to audio. Something you could do. I mean, you could try to cut out those pops as you go, but yeah, it's difficult. Anyways, what's this here? So yeah, this is just the sub bass one right here. I really don't need the sub bass that I added up here on top. And who knows? I think I might actually just take out these sub parts.
Let me see you get low real nasty.
Yeah. This is a riser I just pulled from Claude Von Stroke's riser thing. I actually fucking hate it. I'll let you listen to it before I delete it. And when it comes to like writing music, I think the biggest thing, when you're feeling creative or you're feeling all over the place, one of the biggest takeaways that I would like for it to express during this tutorial, and I wouldn't even call this tutorial, it's more just like a Kovsco flow, is like if you don't like a certain sound and you're trying to fucking make it work, like you're trying to like fit a square peg in a round hole with it, just get rid of it, I think one of the things that I've learned that I wanted to keep sounds because they sounded cool or they sounded good, but when they were in the mix with everything else, they just didn't. And this is one of those risers that I thought was cool at first, but I'm not going to force it to sound cool. It's just eerie, stupid little thing. Yeah, don't like it. Anyways, moving on. Deleting. What's over here? Cool little hits. Vocal hits I just put in there. Anyways. Cool. Yeah, just a little derivative sound of this one. Wanted to make it a little bit more wonky instead of just like covering over the whole thing. So what I'll do right here. And I like the guitar on the outro. This is kind of what I was going for here. If it was for an outro type effect. Which maybe we'll just cut it out right here. So, this is just, I wanted to do like another second drop. It's kind of why I dropped the vocals in here again. This is basically just me recording into the microphone.
Let me see you get low real nasty.
And it's mixed in with this other one, which is pitched down.
Let me see you get low.
Yeah. So that's actually a really cool freaking effect. I don't want to, yeah. Okay. So that's with the mouth. It's a.
Let me see you get low.
Yeah.
Let me see you get low.
I don't know what the hell I did here. I just was messing with this one day and thought it sounded cool. And yeah, that's what I got.
Let me see you get low real nasty.
And then I think I put a delay or fade on this. I think I did it on the other one, but oh. Yeah, so I was trying to come up with like kind of a more of a droppier drop on this one instead of just like a heavy groove. And I think this this sound right here is kind of competing against that. And same with this sound. maybe this sound. Yeah, it's just kind of drawing it out. So maybe I want to just either just deactivate it. And maybe add some more like. See. E minor or E major is what I well we said D sharp minor is what it is. No, excuse us. C sharp minor E major. So notice how this would work too. So E sharp and then see, I kind of like that a little bit. So I'm gonna cut this, Command C, throw it on the first part right there. Let's see here. I kind of don't like that. I kind of want to do like something more. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that walking, like don't, something like that, you know. Let's see. D should. And maybe I'll add another instrument. Maybe yeah, let's see. Kind of like that. Drums. Oh, notice how I didn't add that sub kick on anything else. So that's the just intro. Maybe I'll just yeah, do that, and we'll just copy and Command E, Command Control C. And what I'll do? Oh shit! I just copied it. Yeah. So. So yeah, I really liked
Let me see you get low.
I like those drums. See, what I need to do is I need to fix that. I just messed it up. What I'm doing right now is I'm just gonna add those, add that sub kick drum in again. Command. Oops. So I use this. Oops, and now I'm adding a bunch of things. Command E cuts the clip. Copy. Command C. I said Command or Control. I'm on PC right now. I used to be on Mac. Boom. I like that open hi-hat on the kick. Different, totally different rhythm. And also, I don't really need it right there. Maybe I'll just put this.
Let me see you get low real nasty.
See, super simple. Yeah. So I took out that hi-hat, which is where the kick is.
Let me see you get low real nasty.
Yeah, maybe I want to do like another sample right there on that kick. Just because we like it so much. So I'm going to go in here. These are all snares. What do I like? That's a good way to start finding samples. As ask yourself, what do I like? Yeah, what do I like? I think a lot of producers and a lot of other people, and I won't name people, but I feel like a lot of people start off with what do I think they're gonna like, and I I don't vibe with that at all, and not my vibe, fam. You know what I'm saying? So here, let's go into cardiac, which is freaking super dupe. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Hey, do I have that in here? Do I have it? No. I like that. It's got a lot of reverb, but already in it, which is kind of weird. I've always think that's so weird, but anyways, I'm gonna do it anyways. Alright, and I want to make that stand a little bit more. Going to cardiac. Super quiet. Let's go. Let's fucking rank this up to 0. So yeah, I kind of like just that little like heavy break. Doesn't need to be like that heavy like drop. So let me see you get low real nasty. And then maybe do like a little. And let's see. I like the sharpness of that first sound. So notice how it goes back into like kind of just like that like guitar plucky. And then this is kind of overpowering it. I think what I'll do is I'll go into my massive, and what I'll do is, so maybe I'll just take this guy. See, it's already once I hit it. Notice how it's already automated. Just re-enable the automation, and now I know that this is what's automating. So. Yeah, like that. Just like the low, so just subtle. And then on this one, so what I'll do is I'll go through here, highlight that. It's highlighted. Let's see. Okay, so if I do this, take this, do copy. Where is it? I think just copy will be fine. Go through here, paste. It just copies the automation, paste it with the notes staying in. So yeah, I like that. So it's like yeah, I really like that sound. And then what I'll do is, and then yeah. So that's the vibe. And then on the outro, so maybe I'll add something on that one. So it's like, yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. Who knows? Move back into this chill. So yeah, yeah, I also have this fading out here. Cool. So that's basically where my head's at on a lot of this. I added like another drum thing in case I wanted to extend it. Sometimes I feel like I want to make things longer than 2.5 minutes, but I think that's a pretty good stopping point for us today, folks. Where we at? That's, yeah, we're at 55 minutes. Yeah, so this is how I produce bass music. It's not necessarily the right way or the wrong way, but this is the way that I do it. If you've got any tips or input, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Kovsco. Sounds like Costco, but it's pronounced Kovsco. Yeah, this is, if you can, follow my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Kovsco. That's Kavsko. K is in kangaroo, A is in apple, V is in Victor, S is in Samantha, K is in kangaroo, and O is in orange. Yeah, that's it for today. That's how I produce bass music, my bass music at least. If you got any more input, yeah, please like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think. Thanks everybody for paying attention and listening, and